All right. We are going here today. It's been a little minute since we have been on the channel. Seems like we say that a lot, but
Yeah.
we're back and it's time of the year where we do our position rankings. Yes, it's this is the fourth time around. The first time around uh we did the tiers, and ever since 2023 we've done the top tens. It's always a really fun thing to do. We have Tanner on here do it with us sometimes. We were originally planning on doing this one in Hawaii. Me and Jacob both just got back from a little vacation in Hawaii. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we did not have the time to do it there, so we're going to do it here today. Point guards, as always, is what we're going to start out with. Lists are probably going to look a little different from last year. We've got some new additions to the list. Some guys, we're not going to account for some of the injured players like Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard. We're not going to have Kyrie Irving on this list, even though he'll only miss maybe half or a little more than half the season. We thought it'd be best not to have him on this list. But yeah, point guards installment number four going into the 2025 season. Should be a lot of fun. Jacob, how you feeling today?
Feeling good. Didn't realize it was already the fourth year.
It's crazy to say, right? It's crazy
Still
we've been doing it this long.
still in vacation mode. Brain hadn't been working good today, but make it work.
Yeah, you and me both. We're still running off of the 30/40 hours of combined travel time that we
Yeah.
had done over the past week. So bear with us if we're a little scatterbrained in this episode. I think it may make it even more fun though, honestly.
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. But all right. Y'all know how this goes at this point. If you're a returning viewer, if you don't, we've got our top tens. We've got a few honorable mentions that we will touch on as well before we get into that top 10. And the point guard position is usually pretty stacked. It's usually a pretty stacked list. You're going to see most of these guys on our list be all-stars or perennial all-stars, even some guys that may miss the cut as well. So, without further ado, Jacob, how about you start us off and give us your honorable mentions?
Um, I had multiple, or I had two, but we took Kyrie off. No, I take that back. I had to move somebody up for Kyrie. My honorable mention is James Harden.
Okay.
I don't know if he's on your list or not.
James
Kind of.
Harden is on the list.
I was real close putting him on him and number 10 when they connect. Um, just I guess the age getting up to him, he didn't have as many assists as he normally does last year as before, but point guard, with him, which is good, but he still has the playmaking chops, kind of get him to the top 10 or right outside for me. Uh, it's just kind of like an age thing. These other guys kind of getting better.
I get that. I get that. I did have James Harden in my top 10. I thought that what he did, especially early on in the year last year, was really, really good. It was kind of a renaissance for him. Even in the playoffs, like,
Yeah,
you expect James Harden to have kind of like the one-off games. And he didn't really have that last year. He had maybe one of those, but he was pretty solid for the Clippers in that playoff series against Denver. So he cracked my top 10
I
this
agree.
year. Uh, I had two honorable mentions. Uh, it seems like this guy is an honorable mention for us every year, other than I had him in my list, I know one time. That's Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray is right outside the top 10 for me once again. You
I,
could,
I guess I can. Yeah, I throw him as my honorable mention too. My second one, I did
yeah,
too.
yeah. It seems like he's there every year, right? And he's, so consistently like a 20, 21 point per game scorer. He's gonna average about 5 or 6 assists. That's just who Jamal Murray is. And when the playoffs come, we know his play is gonna rise. He's gonna have his moments.
Yep.
Um, in the playoffs, he's very much a top 10 point guard, but when you take the whole body of work into account, he's gonna sit right outside of that top 10. Not a knock against him. He may never be an all-star in this league, but
Yeah.
he's like the best guy in the league who has never been an all-star at this point.
Yeah, he might be the best point guard in the league when he plays the Lakers in the playoffs.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Close to it.
No doubt. Absolutely no doubt. And my other one, this may be a little strange because this guy has been in our list every single season. But I have him right outside this year. I have De'Aaron Fox here. I have De'Aaron
Okay.
Fox right outside the top 10 going into his first full year in San Antonio. Don't know what to expect really. You
Yeah.
expect him to be a really solid scorer like he has been, 25 point per game scorer, 6, 7 assists. De'Aaron Fox, a guy who's been all NBA a couple times at this point, multiple time All-Star. We know the shooting is a little up and down, but with Victor Wembanyama, he should, be great. They should be a great tandem in San Antonio. But I have him this low because I don't know like where he'll fit alongside like Stephon Castle at this point. And then you throw in Dylan Harper as a
Harper. Yep.
rookie. Yeah, how much, how on ball will he be? How on ball will Stephon Castle be? And with De'Aaron Fox being like the primary point guard on that team, you expect him to be on ball a lot. But even Vic, being the number one option, he's gonna, demand the ball a lot, even if it is just like paint touches or, high post action or, just operating from the top of the key. I just don't know with De'Aaron Fox. There are a lot of questions with him going into this next season. We've seen him even be a potential trade candidate, like do the Spurs continue to run with this tandem, with this group? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what it will look like going forward. He could be the odd man out.
They just extended him, I think, 4 years. So I mean, that could either be a tradable contract or for another star or somebody they are willing to commit with.
Yeah. And I think a lot of De'Aaron Fox's season is going to depend on how good the Spurs are. Like if they are a top 6 to 8
7,
seed
8.
in the West, like they could be, then De'Aaron Fox is an all-star. I think he's an
Yeah.
all-star. But if he's not, then I don't think, or if they're not, then I don't think he is. So he's going to be right outside of the top 10 for me this year.
Yeah. You saved me some time. He's my number 10.
Okay.
Um, I was debating on him and James Harden. Like you said, it kind of depends on. We've had him higher before. Just kind of depends on his role in San Antonio with Vic, with Castle, winning Rookie of the Year last year, and Dylan Harper coming in as second overall pick. So you assume he would start or get a lot of those minutes, kind of to mesh with Vic. Um, but yeah, I think his play last year was kind of just warranted to be top 10 or right outside of it, like you had him.
Yeah. No, I agree. And it's weird to have him this low because it's not like he had a bad year last year or anything. He had a good
Right.
year. Maybe by his standards, his numbers were a little down, but he was still a really good player last season.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, he averaged 23 points, almost 5 rebounds, 6 assists. So not bad at all by him.
that's your typical De'Aaron Fox season right there.
Yep.
My number 10, you may not like this, but I have Tyrese Maxey. I have Tyrese Maxey right here at number 10. A little bit of a down year efficiency wise for him last year. He was a
Yep.
top 10 scorer in the league last year at 26 points per game, averaged 6 assists as well, but only shot 34% from three. And a lot of that is because Joel Embiid not on the floor to take away a lot of the attention. Tyrese
Right.
Maxey was the number one option for the Sixers for a lot of last year, as you well know, and I'm sure as a lot of our other viewers know. And I don't know about it. We're gonna have to see some of that this year too, with Joel Embiid,
Yeah.
missing an indefinite amount of time to start the season at least. Paul George is pretty firmly cemented as your number two guy at this point, maybe even lower, depending,
Lower. Yeah.
yeah, depending on what you can get from him. And he's not just a mainstay in that lineup either with as much time as he could miss throughout the season. So a lot of the Sixers' offensive workload falls on Tyrese Maxey's shoulders. And I think we saw last year that counting stats wise, he's going to put up like the numbers for you, but
Yep.
efficiency may drop just because he may be facing a more difficult matchup or maybe, garnering more attention from defenses. And I think that took a little bit of adjusting to last year. And I think the Sixers were, a worse team because of not having Joel Embiid and Paul George on the floor, of course. Like
Right.
that's a given. But you know, since Tyrese Maxey has seen it already, I think that he'll come in more prepared this year for it. He
Yeah.
has hopefully Jared McCain will be back and ready to go by the start of the season. He'll have VJ Edgecombe in there who can, help out. I have guys like Kelly Oubre and the other Sixers role players. Hopefully Paul George will give him more than what he gave last season. But I do have Tyrese Maxey at number 10. I think he should be an all-star in the Eastern Conference, a down Eastern Conference this year. But I do think that I do think that he is going to have to, you know, show what he can do as the number one option most nights.
Yeah, I had him a little higher, so I can speak on it more when I get to him. But yeah, I agree. He also missed 30 games last year, which everybody in Philly missed at least 10, maybe 15. But like you said, last year was his first year really being the number one option for most of the season. He had a lot of double teams go his way, and teams blitzing him at the 3-point line, stepping up on him. So yeah, maybe another year of playmaking and getting used to having better players around him. Last year's players, we had a lot of G League players out there last year. A lot of Jalen Hood-Schifinos,
My guy.
Jared Butler's, like just everybody was hurt, but he was. I have him a little higher. Him and my number 9, I was back and forth on for a while.
Yeah. Let me go first on number 9 because this is where I have James Harden. I have
Okay.
James Harden right here at number 9. 23 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists last year. Really good renaissance season for James Harden with the Clippers, a top 5 team in the Western Conference where he was the number 2 guy, number 1 guy some nights, number 2 guy pretty consistently behind Kawhi Leonard. And James Harden did it on pretty good efficiency. He shot 35% from three. His turnovers were down from the previous couple of years. And he looks like he's found a pretty good role there with the Clippers in the waning years of his career. That team is old as dirt now, but
Yeah.
James Harden, he plays really well alongside Zubac in that pick and roll. We know James Harden as a pick and roll ball handler, pick and roll initiator. He's still one of the best guys in the league. The offensive game, like the numbers, of course, have gone down from his prime scoring wise, but James Harden is still, good to give you 25 points a night. He'll give you 8, 9 assists, be top 5 in the league in assists, and he'll give you some good highlights in doing so.
Yeah.
James Harden is still very much a good version of himself, and I was very pleased to see that he was an all-star last year. I was very happy to see that. I don't know if he's an all-star this year in the very loaded Western Conference. It would be hard for him to repeat again, I think, but it's possible. It's very possible for James Harden to go back to back.
Yeah, it's possible. It's just you never know how stacked the West is.
Yeah.
Uh, my number 9, you talked me into I could move this guy up. With your spiel on Maxey, but I have Trae Young at number 9.
Ooh, okay.
I think this is where I had him last year. I might have had him higher. I might have had him at 8 last year. Um, he averaged, I don't even know where he's at. 24 points, almost 12 assists, and you know what he can shoot from the 3. I won't even get into that. This is probably because we are projecting to, so I could have him higher.
Right.
This is probably the best team he's had around him going in. You would think.
I would say so.
With the mid Atlanta Hawks, they've been middle of the pack the last couple of years. The only downfall for Trae is his defense, which I kind of can't really blame him. He is a smaller guard, but his playmaking well makes up for his playmaking and scoring. And this year, I would like to see in the weaker Eastern Conference, can they get to a top 4, maybe even a top 3 seed?
It's
Just kind
possible.
of depends. It just kind of depends on what the East, how the East shakes out. But they bring in Kristaps, so that's a nice pick and roll, pick and pop guy he has with him. Better than Clint Capella, in my opinion. So it kind of really just depends on how Atlanta looks this year. Like I said, I had Maxey at 8, so I could flip flop them either which way. Just kind of depends on. We know what we're getting from Trae Young, but like you said, we don't really know about Maxey this year, so I could move him up either or. So had a little bias, I guess. Take into account.
That's fine. That's fine. I respect it. Yeah, Trae Young is always the toughest guy on these lists for me.
He is. He's when you sent the player pool, I kind of had my 10, and I was like, wait, there's somebody missing, and I realized Trae Young, and I was like, that's the guy that's the hardest to kind of do most of the times.
Because there have been years where I've wanted to leave him off completely, and there have
Yeah.
been other years where I want him to be like top 4, top 5.
I think
And
last year we both had him at 10 or 8, maybe, or 9.
yeah, we were both lower on him than we have been in previous years last year.
Yeah.
With that being said, I'm a little higher on Trae Young this year than you are. I've
Good
got
reason.
him a little higher than number 9, you said?
Yeah, I got him at 9. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Go ahead and give your number 8 first.
That's why I have Maxi.
That's Maxi, yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, it's kind of just going to depend on how he looks as the main guy. You bring VJ in, so that takes some defensive responsibility off him if he does run them. Uh, Still to see with Quentin Grimes what happens with that situation if that could be the guard beside him. But like you said, when Embiid and Paul George are out, it's kind of nobody takes the attention off of them, and teams can blitz them and double them because who else is on the floor besides those three most nights? So you'll live with the Kelly Oubre shooting threes all night, or I probably would. So
I would live with that.
yeah, so
What do you
just
just a question here, because you've been high on Tyrese Maxey for several years now.
mm,
You kind of like predicted this progression from him, where you said
yeah,
a few years ago he would turn into an all-star, and I was like, I don't know about that, and he turned into an all-star, and now
yeah.
he's a top 10 scorer in the NBA, and so like at this point, what do you see as the next step for him? Like what's the ceiling for Tyrese Maxey at this point?
He can be All NBA. I know you had him as a third team last year, or not last year, before last, I believe.
Yeah,
And I can see second. I don't think he'd ever be first team, and he had to have a really good year for a second team. But I can see All NBA third. You know, kind of how Fox has been around that range before at his peak.
yeah,
Um, Personally, I think the biggest thing for him would be his playmaking leap, because that's
yeah,
always if he's gonna keep running the true one, that playmaking leap. His defensive, he's not bad on defense. I know he's smaller and you don't associate with him, but he gets steals. He
yeah.
kind of can contest on bigger guys, but I'll say All NBA and serviceable on defense. Not like how Trey Young gets targeted, but he can hold his own on defense. And it's just you got to be consistent around him. It's not been consistent. Like you said, Embiid, Paul George, the coaching changes. Doc Rivers will never be forgiven. I thought about having him higher, just projecting because he has gotten better every year. So more stats wise, but I just couldn't put him above the guys I got above him from what we've seen.
Yeah. You know what I think is the best thing about Tyrese Maxey's progression over the past couple of years is that he's kind of broken away from the mold that we see with a lot of guys in from his position, kind of like
Yeah,
that combo guard, like the Cam Thomas mold, the
yeah,
Anthony
yeah,
Simons, guys that he used to kind of be like grouped in with, even like Tyler
yeah.
Hero to an
Tyler, yeah,
extent.
yeah,
Yeah, where he those guys are guys that are like not being paid in restricted free agency right now, like Cam Thomas is. And
yeah. You're kind of spark plug, the guy you go to when you need a bucket. He
the
kind of can
combo
do.
guard, like the
Yeah,
shooting guard in a point guard's body, like
yeah,
not a very good playmaker, really minus defender. Tyrese Maxey's kind of broken that mold because he's a good playmaker at this point. Like you said, he holds his own defensively,
mm,
and he's an elite scorer on top of that. So I think that the fact that he's been able to do that is a testament to him. And I think that out of that group of guys, a couple of years ago, it was Simons, it was Desmond Bane, and Tyler Hero were the three that he
yeah,
was most closely associated to. Tyrese Maxey's the best of those four, like pretty
comfortably.
far
Yeah,
and away now.
yeah,
Maybe I'd say Tyler Hero is probably the second best in that group. You could make an argument for Desmond Bane, but Tyrese
yeah.
Maxey's way better than those other three at this point.
Yeah, I would say his ethic is like the main reason because you hear every summer about he's in the gym. He's had to get kicked out of the gym before. And what you love to see is he's already had like McCain, BJ Edgecombe, Justin Edwards in the gym already. And you never really heard that with, Justin Bede or Ben Simmons or Harden. So he's a great franchise guy to have, even if he's not going to be a, top five guard, but top five point guard. But
Yeah.
like you said, the progression he has had, he's jumping that kind of group of players that we always had debates about.
hmm
Kind of good to see and see where he goes.
Yeah. And we're going to talk more about that when we do shooting guards too, because there are a lot of shooting guards who are in that group too, talking about guys like Jalen Green and like you
Yeah,
mentioned Tyler Hero and
it's gonna be
there are like fringe guys like my guy Shaden Sharp who could potentially fit into that mold. I hope he doesn't. But like
yeah,
Benedict Mathurin and Zach LaVine, even he's older, has been kind of thrown into that group too. I've seen Colin Sexton's name
that's
be
gonna be a
thrown
weird
into that
list.
group.
Yeah,
Yeah. So we'll talk more about that going forward. But my number eight, this guy has been pretty interchangeable with Trey Young throughout all of my lists. I do not have Trey Young at number eight. I went through every list that we've done, And this guy and Trae Young have been back to back in every single list that we've done so far, at least on my list.
Mhm.
That's John Morant. I've got John Morant at number 8 here.
Yeah, that's who I was back and forth with Maxi at 7, which is kind of crazy to think about, but
Yeah. It's just availability is the main thing. And,
yeah,
people talk about it all the time, but it rings so true. John Morant's on the floor. He's really, really good. If he's not, then like you can't do much with him. It's this
no,
almost the same thing with like a LaMelo Ball. LaMelo Ball was an afterthought for me just because
yeah,
like
I didn't
he's
even, yeah,
he's super talented, but he's just never on the floor. So we can never really see real progression from LaMelo Ball at this point. And it's kind of the same thing with John Morant. You hate to say it, but the peak of John Morant's career right now is 2022. That
yeah,
playoff, that playoff
yeah,
run that year, he was All NBA second team that year, I think. He was like a top 10 MVP candidate that year. That was the peak of John Morant's career up until this point. And not to say that he doesn't have better years ahead of him, you certainly hope so. But at this point, he's number 8 on this list for me. 23 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists last year, and limited action. He averaged the most turnovers in his career last year. I think part of that was because of the implementation of a new
new offense.
offense. Yeah, which they went away from after they fired Taylor Jenkins. So we'll see what he does with a full year under Thomas Isolos's system. I think he could be better. I think his usage will be up. Um,
Was was the new system from Taylor Jenkins or from that coach they
it was from
hired?
Islo. It was Islo's
Okay.
system. Um,
Do you think
well,
it's
no,
a
no, 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 no. The new system was implemented at the beginning of the season by Taylor Jenkins
okay,
and their
okay.
assistant coaches to be like
Everybody
no
eats.
ball
Yeah,
screens. Like they hardly ever use ball screens. And whenever they fired Taylor Jenkins, they went back to a lot of high ball screens with Zach Edey and John Morant and operated with that being like the focal point of their offense.
yeah. I know a lot of players and like fans didn't like that new offense because it was everybody eats, not one guy take over.
Yeah. And in theory, like it's a good idea. It's a good
Yeah,
idea for an offense, but when so much of your success is predicated upon John Morant, you have to implement some kind of high pick and roll, some type of like way to get him paint touches, and that's the best way to do it. Um,
right.
and we saw like towards the end of the season, he had better games, and in the playoffs, he had some really good games, or before he got hurt at least against
Yeah,
OKC. But yeah, John Morant's my number 8. He's still, if he plays the threshold of games, he's very likely going to be an all-star. Um, he's one of the best playmakers in the league. If his three-point shooting is just a little up, he will be a really good player next season. I just don't know how to project the Grizzlies at this point. I don't know how to project the Grizzlies since I don't know how to project John Morant at this point, and a lot of that, me having him so low, is just
yeah,
questions that I have. I don't know like what's next for John Morant. I don't know like what the next step forward is necessarily, other than just stay on the floor enough to where we can see what it could be. I haven't seen it at this point. So.
yeah,
He's still a great player. He's still an all-star level player. Um, the number one option in Memphis. I know some people said Jaren Jackson Jr. had taken over that spot. John Morant is the number one option when they're both on the floor.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I've got him at number 8. I think the inconsistencies are too loud at this point.
yeah. I had him at 7, so I'm kind of right there with you. Healthy, yeah. We I know the shooting is always he's become a better shooter, but that's always going to be the question. His playmaking's gotten a lot better, I think. But like you said, it's just him being on the court is the biggest thing, especially when he is the guy for you, uh, especially in that offense. So I agree with you on it.
Yeah, yeah. I had him there, and at number 7, I'll get into my number 7. I had Trae Young. I have Trae Young right above him once again, one spot ahead.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because I think the Hawks have got some stuff this year. And I know we said that in the past, but I think that this Hawks team is the best group of players that has been around Trae Young at any point in his career. I know they went to the conference finals in 2021. That team was very talented, but I think that
Mhm.
this team is the best fit around Trae Young. You've got a defensive demon alongside him in Dyson Daniels. You should
Yeah.
have a healthy Jalen Johnson back this year to take some of the playmaking load off to be a a second option. You've got Kristaps Porzingis, like you said, to stretch the floor, be that pick and pop guy, be a good rim deterrent. Um, you pick up Nickeil Alexander-Walker in free agency,
Yeah.
great 3-and-D wing, was like the most underrated addition this offseason, I thought. Um,
They also got didn't they get someone else too besides
They
Nikhil?
got Luke Kennard. They got Luke
Okay,
Kennard to,
yeah,
shoot threes as well. So they'll have a lot of floor spacing next year. Not even to mention Onyeka Okongwu still, who I don't know what their starting lineup's going to look like, but there's potential that they could start Kristaps Porzingis and Onyeka Okongwu both if they wanted to. So not to mention their
yeah,
rookie
they could.
number one pick too, Zachary Risashe.
Yeah,
So they've got a lot of stuff over there in Atlanta, and I'm not projecting them to like, make a finals run next year or anything, but
yeah,
I expect Trae Young to be in the best position of his career to really make something shake next season. Last season, he averaged 24 points, 12 assists, led the league in assists. He's always going to be a high turnover guy since he's so high usage.
yeah,
And yeah, the good comes with the bad with Trae Young. You're going to get a lot of assists, but you're going to get a lot of turnovers as well. Shot 34% from three last year. Trae Young is never going to be like a super efficient shooter, but I think that this season is the season for Trae Young to prove who he really is. Because for us, and I know for a lot of other people as well, he's been kind of on like that trading, pseudo trading block for a
yeah,
while. We thought he could be somewhere else at this point, but that hasn't happened yet. And you know, he, they've kind of waited it out, and they've put a really good team around him. And I feel like this is the year that Trae Young can really do something. And if it's not this year, then I don't know, what that looks like in Atlanta.
yeah.
Yeah.
I know. We'll get more into it with like standings, but how much of their season relies on Jalen Johnson's health?
I think in terms of their ceiling, I think in terms of their ceiling,
Yeah,
a lot of it. Because I think even without Jalen Johnson, they'll be a playoff team in the East next season
yeah,
if he doesn't play like a whole lot of games. But if Jalen Johnson is healthy, I think that they could make like a conference finals run next year. I think that it's very possible
okay,
because Jalen Johnson, before he got hurt, he played like 30 something games this year, was on track to be like the most improved player this past season. He was very seriously in MIP talks this year. So he's a guy that's going to average like 19 points, 8 assists, 5, 6 rebounds, and he could be better than that. He could be even better
yeah,
than that. So um, I think a lot of their ceiling relies on Jalen Johnson's availability.
yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Do
Number
we
six,
have? So do we have the same number six?
probably. I have Devin Booker. You
This one
don't.
I have Kate Cunningham. Yeah.
Ooh, let's talk about it. So
So did were you doing yours off of like kind of the point guard position, or like just the best player that's going to play point guard?
I was just going who I thought was the best player at the listed position.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and this may be new for some people because Devin Booker has not been a point guard on our list before. We should
Yeah.
have probably had him on our point guard list last year since he has technically
Yeah.
been a point guard for the past 2 years, probably three at this point, ever since Chris Paul has
Yeah.
left the team. But we have him here on our point guard list for the first time this year. But yeah, he came in at my number six. I'm interested because I thought you would have Kate a little higher.
I thought about it. D book, like you said, it's just kind of weird putting him at point guard. So I really didn't know how to gauge it.
Yeah.
But if I could move him to six, I would. But I just kind of gave him the edge over Cade.
Huh. That's very interesting. I
Which I know you've been the Cade believer for the last couple of years, a lot more than
yeah.
I have. So
Yeah, I'm really glad that Cade is on this list, and he's pretty high on this list too. Um,
really,
yeah, yeah, I won't disclose any more, but I'm really high on Cade going forward. But Devin Booker, let me touch on Devin Booker a little bit. He, as y'all know, if you've been watching the channel, Devin Booker is one of my three favorite players in the league. 26 points, 4 rebounds, 7 assists. Do we feel like Devin Booker has plateaued? I mean, he's 28, 29 years old at this point. Do we feel like we've seen the best of Devin Booker?
See, that's like another reason I really couldn't judge him because you don't know because the situation's been so bad the last couple years.
Yeah.
But
Do we
if
expect it to
you,
be any better next year, though? I don't.
that's yeah. So I mean, I could put Cade above him. I don't want to change it mid list, but I could see it. Um, but this is probably he probably has better around him now than did last year, and it's kind of weird to say with KD being there,
Yeah.
but better fit. I'll say that better fits. You don't have Nurkic there. You don't have Aiden. You don't have who was their center last year?
They had Nick
Eubanks.
Richards
No, Nick Richards. Okay. I think he has better around him this year.
and Mason Plumlee.
Yeah, I say he has better around him, but then you got that fit with Jalen Green. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Um,
it's tough. It's tough to say.
because I've not been the highest on D Book before, and it's kind of our Ant D Book battles the last couple years, a few years ago.
Ant's clearly
Um,
better now, by the way.
yeah, I can move K to 6. I mean Book to 6.
Yeah,
I'll do that
I
because, like you said, has he plateaued? Like, have we seen the best, and can't get really any better than that? He also changes coaches every year or every
yeah,
6 months. It feels
he's
like.
seen like 8 coaches in his career at this point. It's crazy.
Yeah,
I He only shot 33% from three last year. It's the most three-point attempts he's ever taken by a wide margin. So I think we'll see a lot of the same thing this next year.
yeah.
Uh, with Phoenix not projected to be a very good team, I don't think they'll be a. I don't. I'll go ahead and spoil this right now. I don't think Phoenix is even a play-in team. I think that they're that bad. I don't think that they'll have a good year next year. So
Like
on a bad team again, I feel like Devin Booker's going to have like PTSD,
plateau. Yeah,
unfortunately, from the early years of his career. He'll put up the numbers, and I really hope he'll get an all-star nod. But
mm.
I just couldn't rationalize having him any higher than 6.
I guess the only thing you can see kind of he could improve on is playmaking. I guess, but
I see.
like,
I think he's a great playmaker. I think he's a
yeah,
really good playmaker.
he's he's a lot better than I thought he'd be, especially when it was kind of made that he'll take the point guard role.
Yeah, and that's the
Um,
hope for Jalen Green that he can learn some of that from Devin Booker.
yeah, so I'll do that. I'll move Book to my 6. Um, I know we don't do that often, but I'll change mid episode.
I'll allow it because,
You're a Book guy, yeah, whatever.
well, no, you're moving him down. I don't. I
Yeah,
don't. I don't like moving Devin Booker down now.
I had to give Cade the Tobias Harris tax.
Yeah.
So
So you have Kate at number 5 then.
yeah, I'll put him 5 and I'll put Book 6. Yeah,
Okay. Kate Cunningham's not my number 5.
let me change that too.
Number 5, I have Jalen Brunson. I have Jalen Brunson here at number 5, and that's no knock against Jalen Brunson. But I have Kate Cunningham one spot above at number 4. I
I
think,
have I have Cade 5 and Brunson 4.
okay, let's talk about it. Yeah, I know the Knicks won the playoff series. Jalen Brunson had like the walk-off three over Sar Thompson, still one of the craziest shots I've
Yeah,
seen in a long time. That was,
yeah.
but Cade Cunningham's trajectory. Let's talk about Cade Cunningham's trajectory because,
See,
like you said, I've been really high on him, even when the Pistons were the worst team of
really
all
bad.
time.
Yeah. So
Last year,
I'll go ahead and say next year would be higher. It's just I just didn't know. Like, especially Brunson. Brunson's like the one of the, like Trae Young, kind of weirdest players to judge on here
yeah,
because he has such good talent around him, and he has stepped up in the playoffs before.
hmm
But I wouldn't be surprised if Cade does have a better year than Brunson.
yeah. And I'm one to be on here and kind of, take some risky swings like that. Like
Yeah,
I had Jalen Williams in my top 4, my small forwards last year. Remember I had Paolo over Kevin Durant in my power forwards.
yeah,
So Cade's going to be that guy for me this year. I just think he was All NBA second team last year. I think that he will be no lower than All NBA second team again this next year. I expect the Pistons to be a top 5 team in the Eastern Conference again.
yeah.
Um, 26 points, 6 rebounds, 9 assists. I think there's another level. I think there's another level too for Cade Cunningham to tap into. He was very turnover prone last year. That's the downside. I think that his assist to turnover ratio, his efficiency could be the biggest area of improvement. But Cade Cunningham shot 36% from 3. That's above league average from 3, which
Yep.
if you're getting that from Cade Cunningham, that's incredible. And just the way he scores, the way he gets to his floater, the way he gets to the paint, his size at 6'6", that's a big reason I put him over Jalen Brunson, is him being 6'6", 6'7", and Jalen Brunson
Yeah,
being maybe 6 foot, which
yeah,
has been a deterrent for him up until this point. But
yeah, that's another the reason why like I can see Cade a lot better just because of the size. That's kind of why we've knocked Trey Young before.
yeah,
So I could see it.
it's the same thing with Donovan Mitchell on shooting guard lists that we've done.
Yeah. Do you think he can improve when I don't know if he'll start if Jaden Ivey starts next to him? Do you think that would kind of you don't think he's going to start? I think he missed all of last year or most of it. I
He
know.
missed most of last year, yeah.
Yeah,
See, Jaden Ivey is such a weird player.
because he could be a trade
Yeah,
candidate maybe.
I feel like he won't be in Detroit for much longer.
Okay.
I feel like if he's there, I feel like Jaden Ivey should run the second unit, but
Okay.
I don't know if they'll do that. I feel like they
Yeah.
probably won't do that. But if I had my way, that's what I would do. Just because I feel like anybody can play alongside Cade Cunningham, but we saw last year like a Malik Beasley thrived playing next to Cade Cunningham.
Yeah.
And they picked up, I forget who they picked up. They picked up some shooter. I forget who
Levert.
it is. They picked up somebody other than Karis LeVert. They picked up Karis LeVert too. I think he'll come off the bench though. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head. It's like a shooting, like a really good 3-point shooter to replace Malik Beasley. Anyway, that mold of a player to go alongside Cade Cunningham, I feel like is like the premier backcourt for the Pistons, because then you have Asar Thompson who's locking stuff up. You have Tobias Harris who will still be there at the four, and you have your centers. You have Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart who are holding it down in the interior, and you have Ron Holland coming up.
Yeah, they picked up Duncan Robinson.
That's who it is. See,
3 year, 48. Yeah,
I can see them starting Duncan Robinson.
they could, especially if he's hitting the shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see the Cade vision. I know I've been lower on him in the past, but I
See,
could definitely easily move him above Brunson just as a Knicks hater. But
here's a big question that I ask myself, and this question may be a little too big for just next season, but only time will tell. I
yeah,
asked myself, and it's funny, it stemmed from a first take question. I asked this question about both Jalen Brunson and Cade Cunningham. Can they be the number one option on the championship team? I don't. I feel better about Cade Cunningham being the number one option on the championship team than I do Jalen Brunson. I really do.
I I can see it. This year kind of definitely tell for me since Cade did have the big breakout year last year. I know neither of us had him top 10 last year.
You know.
I can definitely see it. If he repeats this year, definitely gets better. I'll definitely have him higher on my list. I just gave the Brunson the benefit of the doubt because he has been to the ECF last 2 years. No,
Just
I
one.
know this past
Lost
this
in the
past
second
year.
round the year before.
Yeah, but he's kind of shown to step up in big moments. But like you said, the size. But that question of the one, can he be a 1A? That is a good kind of thought process of like ranking players. Like, who would you rather have? And I'd rather have Cade over Brunson. I just think Brunson's kind of proven it more so far.
hmm
So definitely after this year, I can definitely, end up moving Cade a lot higher up, depending on. I'm sure we have the same top three,
Yeah.
top group, but it's depending on how stuff falls this next season. I can definitely have Cade a lot higher.
Yeah. This is definitely the most I'll project on this list, but I feel so confident in Cade at this point. Like
Yeah,
after the terrible Pistons year, I was like a little like, okay, like this
questioning
guy, I
it.
know
Yeah,
he's good. I know he's like an all-star. I can see that. But past that, I was like, I don't know what really there is past that. This past season proved everything for me.
yeah,
It proved everything that I thought was there is actually there, and then some. Like I think Cade Cunningham after this next year, I think he could be a top 10 player in the league, like just in general. He was already technically a top 10 player last year, being all second team NBA. Uh,
yeah,
I think it's there. I think everything is there for Cade Cunningham to be a top 3 point guard on this list in the coming years.
yeah. I can agree, especially in the coming years, next year maybe two. Yeah, I can
Yeah,
agree.
because Steph Curry, he's going to fall out of this list eventually, whether that be he
Yeah,
retires or he'll fall out of that list. And I've wondered for the longest time, like
when
who
will
will
it be?
replace Steph Curry? Like who's going to do it? And we've seen Shea, creep up into there now. Shea's going to be a mainstay for the next couple of years. But, thought for the longest time it could be John Morant. And I guess it still could
Yeah,
be. Jalen
Brun-
Brunson,
yeah.
he's
Brunson was my 4, and I kind of debated on him at 3, especially last year. Way more last year, but because when will Curry kind of fall off, which the way he plays, I guess he never will until he retires. Seems like. Um, but yeah, Cade, I can definitely see moving up, especially after this year if he repeats and if they become a top 3 seed, that's going to boost him a lot for you. Probably me too.
Oh, yeah, for
But
sure.
I guess Tobias Harris is the best glue guy in the league. Seems like.
If the Pistons are a top 3 seed in the East, I think Cade Cunningham is a top 5 MVP candidate.
Think so?
I think so. And I know it's more nuanced than that, but if the Pistons are top 3 in the East, then I have to imagine Cade Cunningham's the driving force of that.
Yeah, I can see it. With how the East is, I could definitely see them getting that high.
Yeah. And in no way is me having Cade Cunningham over Jalen Brunson a knock against Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson had a great year last year.
Yeah,
Um, it's kind of like the same deal with Ja Morant, though. Jalen Brunson's way more healthy and way more available, and we've seen a lot more in the past couple of years from Jalen Brunson than we have Ja Morant in terms of, success individually and team wise. But it's like, what's the next step? Like we've seen Jalen
yeah,
Brunson, okay, he's made this big step from Dallas to New York. Nobody really saw that coming. Is there another step in there for Jalen Brunson?
yeah.
And I don't think so. I don't think there is. I think this is the best
We'll
version of
see.
Jalen Brunson. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Okay, I can agree with that. The rest of the position list, I might kind of go that route of what's next and can they improve and who would I rather have, like the 1A, 1B, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a good thought process to it, especially projecting when I think I've been the bigger projector of us two, kind of, especially standing wise.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So you said you almost had Jalen Brunson over your number 3 going into it. Who's your number 3?
Steph Curry.
Okay.
Is he your 3?
Yeah. That's what I thought it was, but I just wanted to be sure.
I was just so 50-50 on it because like when will the drop be? Um, Probably never. They're gonna
See,
keep competing. Traded for Jimmy last year. I think they're the only team that not make a move this offseason, like any
not
move at
yet.
all.
Waiting on Kaminga.
Waiting on the Kaminga. I think after that, the Anthony Melton and Al Horford signing is what happened.
That's what we're hearing.
Yeah. So yeah, just kind of when that drop off for Curry happened, which, like you said, Cade, Brunson, if Ja can be healthy, anybody can kind of get that 3rd spot the next couple of years. Curry averaged 24, 4, and 6. Still shot 40% from 3, 93 free throw.
It's amazing.
What did he average in assists last year? Do you remember? Did that drop any?
I think he was around
Around 6.
6. Yeah, he's been around like 5, 6, 7 for the last 5 years.
Yeah, but so he's never really just known as like a amazing playmaker. But I
Yeah,
mean,
he's not like out there dishing assists like Trae Young.
yeah, and especially having Jimmy and Draymond there, they kind of have their own
That's
passing.
not the way their offense is set up. They're not running high pick and roll.
Right. So yeah, I still had Curry at 3, played 70 games last year, which you don't really expect a
Crazy.
player that 33, 30, is he 33, 34?
He's 37.
Is he 30? I didn't. Okay, 33, 34 is pushing it, but I didn't realize it was 37.
He's 37.
You wouldn't think a point guard playing that many minutes, playing 70 games at 37.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that young, but yeah, he was kind
that
of
young. That's how young he was whenever he won his last championship.
Yeah, so Curry at 3 was kind of like I don't want to say a no-brainer because I did contemplate it, but it was kind of like one of the easier picks of the list.
Yeah. Yeah. Curry was easy for me at 3.
Yeah.
He's definitely better than the tier of guys below him with Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham. I guess those 2 guys make up that tier. I think that they're pretty firmly
Step ahead
above
with
like
the other, yeah.
the Devin Booker, Ja Morant, Trae Young tier at this point. But they are still Curry is still below like the top 2 guys for sure at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Still amazing stuff year in and year out. He is like the driving force of why they make the playoffs year in and year out at his age. Still crazy.
Yeah.
we've said basically everything that needs to be said about Steph Curry in videos past. You know who he is. And yeah, it just seems like he's gonna be the same player until he just decides to hang it up one day.
Yeah, it's kind of that might be when he's off the list is when he hangs it up
Yeah.
when he's gone.
I do expect him to, retire a Warrior. I'd be
Yeah,
absolutely like foreign to believe that the Warriors would ever trade him. But
trade him. Yeah,
whenever we get into standings, I'm interested to hear about the Warriors going into this next year from you because they had, of course, they picked up Jimmy. They had a good second half of the year next year, but I don't know. I feel really weird that the Warriors might have a really bad year.
yeah.
I don't know though.
I'm 50. I don't want to say 50-50. Kaminga's really holding up the off season for them, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like a wait and see type game. But with the West being so good, you know, any was it last year? I think 4 through 9 or 3 through 9 was like all one game apart or two
Yeah.
games apart, something like that. One bad stretch or one, you know, Curry hurts his hand or something, misses 10 games. That could be the season right there. So
Yeah. They were the 10 seed that year and they were 46 and 36.
yeah, so yet to see what they look like. But yeah, standings will be fun whenever we do get to it. A couple weeks.
So that leaves top two. I assume you have Luca at two and Shea at one.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's
pretty
pretty
easy.
pretty easy.
Yeah,
Luca, it'll be his first year in LA next year. Um 28, 8 and 8 still last year, pretty good efficiency. Took him a while though to get acclimated to LA seemingly, and he had some struggles in the playoffs. He didn't play the best in the playoffs this time around.
yeah.
Had some moments, but also dealt with some sickness, I think, in game three or game four of that series against Minnesota. But the Lakers, we've talked about it over the past few years, just kind of feel in that same boat with the Warriors as long as LeBron's there. Like he's going to
Mhm.
be solid, but,
Yeah.
they haven't really, like what's
Um,
really next. And I guess the difference with the Warriors and the Lakers is that the Lakers have a younger Luca who's next in line, and the Warriors don't really have like their
that younger,
future.
yeah.
So, and it's weird to still think of Luca as like this 26-year-old player because he feels so much older at this point. But yeah, he's a guy, as we've seen in past years, could be like number one on this list, could be an MVP candidate. I think going into either last year or the year before, he was number one on my list on this point guard list. So
Yeah, I think so.
it was either him or last year I had Shea. Last year I had Shea, but
No, we had Luca last year. Both of
we
us did.
did.
Yeah,
Let me go check.
I got it pulled up.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, from
But I guess it was
yeah.
last year then. So yeah, he's a guy who's been number one on this list and could very well be it again. But with what Shea did last year, like let's talk about Shea's year last year because
Okay.
I don't think people are talking about how insane Shea's year was last year.
They just pull the free throws out at you. If you do.
That's all you hear about. When Jalen Brunson, let me tell you, Jalen Brunson is 5 times worse. He's five
It's
times worse than Shea.
it's so annoying to watch. I had to deal with that. Was it 2 years ago? It was. I hate.
Trey Young was worse than Shea is. James Harden was worse than Shea is. Anyways, that's a different discussion. We don't have to get into that. So you just look at the counting stats last year, talking about James Harden. Shea averaged 33 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. We talking about like
Hmm.
that crazy James Harden scoring year from a couple years ago where he averaged like 36 points.
Yeah.
He's pretty close to that. Not to mention, he shot 52% from the field, 38% from three, and 90% at the free throw line. He was barely off 50, 40, 90, dude.
Yeah.
Which is crazy stuff. And not to mention either, he was almost an he was almost on an all defense team. He
That's
barely
that's
made an all
the
defensive team,
that's the part a lot of people don't talk about is his defense.
which is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous season. Some people were like calling his MVP season like one of the worst MVP seasons of the last 25 years of the century. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy. The fact that he beat out Jokic alone after the year Jokic had last year. Like Jokic
Yeah.
had an insane year last year. On almost any other year, Jokic is winning that MVP. But because
Hmm.
Shea had the year that they had, the Thunder won 68 games,
Well,
and then he
they
follows it up and wins the Finals MVP. Like that's one of the best years we've seen in our lifetime watching basketball.
Wasn't there a 13, 14 game gap between OKC and Houston?
Yeah, it wasn't close. It
Yeah.
wasn't even
And a
close.
lot of that they have a great team, probably the best built team, OKC, but a lot of that is Shea, what he was able to do last year, and the reason they were so far ahead like that.
Yeah. If Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was not the orchestrator of their half-court offense, they would struggle in the half court. They would
Yeah,
struggle as a half-court team. They would still be a really good defensive team, and they would still, get out in transition. I think without Shea on the floor, I think they would look a lot like the Orlando Magic. Like imagine if the Orlando Magic had Shea. They would be the best team in the East.
yeah,
They would be the best team in the Eastern Conference. So just an unreal year. He's easily number one, and I feel like he will be number one for years to come. You know,
yeah.
we made like the case like Luka might be it, but if Shea looks anything like he did this past year, then
He'll easily be one next.
yeah, it's not a challenge. I really do think that Cade Cunningham is going to crack the top three in the next couple years,
Mm,
and I think that Cade Cunningham. This is gonna sound bold, but I think Cade Cunningham is next up to take like that Shea leap. I think Cade is next up. I think the
they kind
Pistons are
of.
Pistons are next up in the Eastern Conference. I
Mm,
think I think Cade is next up. I think Cade Cunningham will win an MVP in his career, and I think he's got it. I think what's the only things that are holding him back from reaching what Shea is reaching. First of all, he will never be as good of a defender as Shea. I'll go ahead
yeah,
and throw that out the window right now. But turnovers, ball security, getting to the free throw line, and drives and paint touches. We see Cade is already good at that, but Shea is the best in the league at it. Best in the league at drives, has the most drives.
yeah,
Uh, free throw rate, insane.
yep,
Mid-range shooting percentage, unbelievable. And the fact that he can shoot 38% from three in the same year is ridiculous. It is absolutely
yeah.
ridiculous.
Great season. I have no reason to believe he can't do it again,
Yeah,
especially bringing the same guys back and same coach. So nothing changes. No major changes. I don't even think they even brought a free agent in, like a big name free agent. They extended their guys and drafted.
I can't think of anybody either.
But yeah, kind of. We both had Luca won last year, understandably, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
team made the finals.
so, do you think that Cade could jump Luca at all, or it just kind of just depends on how that plays out in LA and what we see from Luca in the next couple of years?
I think he can. He
Yeah.
definitely can. I think he will. I think he will.
Okay.
And I'm not projecting like Luka's gonna like fall off
Fall off.
anytime soon or anything. I think the archetype of player that Cade Cunningham
Yeah.
is more, and this is gonna sound kind of strange, and I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but I think Cade Cunningham is the archetype of more of a winning player than Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is like this heliocentric, like offensive figure who is a minus on the defensive end, and so
Has to
much
have the ball to kind
it
of
has to
be.
have the ball in his
Yeah.
hands, has to like everything is predicated on Luka. And I feel
Yeah.
like once like LeBron retires, the Lakers are going to be Luka Doncic. Like the Lakers are Luka. And
Yeah.
that's fine. He's a great player. They're going to be a playoff team. They have the potential to make the finals that way. But I think what's different with Cade is that he can operate as that if need be, and he can also defer in the sense of he's not the main focus all the time.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't have to be the main focus all the time. I think what Cade Cunningham needs for the Pistons to be an NBA Finals team is just that solidified number two guy, like Jalen Williams is most nights for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think if the Pistons have that, I think they're ready. I don't think they're ready yet. I think that their guys are still, they still have a very young team.
Yeah.
Um, I think they're getting there. I think they have the formula.
Yeah. They could definitely get there, especially if Cade can draw free agents in, or if they do draft well, which hit or miss normally for
Yeah,
them.
they'll
So
have a lot of money to spend this next offseason.
yeah, they're one of the top teams, I think.
Yeah. And it's not like big name players don't hit free agency anymore. It just doesn't
Yeah,
happen. So
yeah.
it would be like via a trade. But I think the Pistons, it's getting close to time for the Pistons to be aggressive. It's getting pretty close, which is crazy to say. They're 1 year
Kind
removed
of,
from being terrible.
yeah,
But
kind of like how Orlando was this summer.
yeah,
Even though it was the wrong
exactly.
aggressive, but it was aggressive. Yeah.
Exactly. Like if the Pistons had picked up Desmond Bain, I would be ready to say that they would be a top three seed in the East next year. Like solidified.
So if they got like a not a Kaminga, but
If the pick
say if they were able to pry away like Herb Jones or Trey Murphy.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They get Trey Murphy.
As just kind of two guys that we've always heard in trade talks and could be on the move. I know they extended both, I think,
That would be
but
cool.
just kind of players of that archetype.
And they've got the guy to give up. They've got Jaden Ivey.
Yep,
Got the main guy. So
yep, they do.
they could give up Ron Holland if they really wanted to get like a really big name player.
I
So
mean, I'm sure they have all their picks next couple of years. I don't see why they wouldn't. I'm not
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, it's there. I wanted to ask you before we close the episode, um, Tyrese Halliburton, if he was healthy, where would Tyrese Halliburton land on this list after the Pacers run, after him being so incredible in the playoffs and the finals? Where would Tyrese Halliburton be? Because I struggled with this.
Either three or four.
You think so?
I think so.
You think he'd be that high?
I mean, we had him what 6 last year.
He was, you said
We
you have
had him.
low.
We had him 5 last year, right under Ja.
Really? Let me see. I had
We
him
had the
number
same 5
six. Yeah,
last year.
I had him number six.
Oh, mine only had 5. Okay,
I might have moved him up. I might
I
have moved
think
him up.
you might have moved him up above Dame.
Huh.
But last year we had no wait. Okay, we both had him 6 last year. My bad.
Okay.
Luca's blended in. We had the same. We had the same 5 or 6 last year. Luca, SGA, Curry, Brunson, Ja, Halliburton. He'd be over Ja.
Yeah.
Brunson probably,
Really?
maybe. Probably 4. I still don't know about Curry. Kind of, to the end of time, I
Would
guess.
you
But
put him over Cade?
I think so. I think I would personally.
Huh.
But to be fair, I watched very little K last year.
Yeah.
Um, very little Pistons. I watched very little Pistons ball, kind of boycotting Tobias. But I also didn't watch that last year. Was probably the least basketball I've watched in a while. I had a lot going on, so
Yeah.
I'd say 3 or 4,
Hmm.
probably 4.
I landed on six. I put him right above Devin Booker and right below Jalen Brunson for me.
Okay.
I um I couldn't go higher than that. He was incredible. He was
Yeah. See,
so incredible.
I think I'm leaning that run. The kind of 12 for 13 on go ahead or clutch
Yeah.
shots, whatever.
And
So
if you think about it too, in that game seven, what makes it so sad is that I'm not saying the Pacers would have won game seven if he had stayed healthy, but he came out so hot in that
he
game.
started off. He had 9 points in what 4 minutes, something
And
like
when
that.
Tyrese Halliburton starts out the game hot, you can look up the numbers. The Pacers are on pace to be like a 70 win team when Tyrese Halliburton starts the game that way.
Yeah.
They hardly ever lose.
Okay. If he would have stayed healthy that game,
He would have won Finals MVP.
if they would have won the finals
Yes,
or that game,
he would have
well,
won
okay.
Finals
Let's say
MVP.
they still lost. Let's say they still lost, but he also had one of those 35 point 12 assist games. They still lost. Will that have
Even
changed
even
anything for you?
even still, like
It's tough. I know it's tough to say, and
it's
I
really
am
it's really difficult.
one of the bigger people of it's not just the playoffs that matter. It's the whole season.
Yeah.
Um, but I would say probably 4 above Brunson. I'd probably put him above Brunson,
Hmm.
but it'd be really close. Like it's kind of flip a coin. Like I wouldn't be mad either way.
Yeah. Yeah, he's so hard to gauge because like you said, if you take in the full body of work, you take into account not just the playoffs, but also the regular season last year. First half of the season, he was bad. He was not very
Yeah,
good. The Pacers were not a good team. Then, of course, they turn it on from January forward, and they're the second best team in the league behind OKC. And Tyrese Halliburton plays like an all NBA second team, some nights all NBA first team player. The numbers are not going to flash. The numbers are not going to flash with Tyrese Halliburton scoring wise, which makes it kind of weird to like think of him as like a top 3, 4, 5 point guard.
Yeah,
But there's a very realistic argument for that, and I
it
understand that.
is. I remember the joke we had some of last year, and especially before last, when Tyrese had a bad stretch. I'd say the real Tyrese is in Philly.
Yeah.
That kind of got shut down after this year. But yeah, I can see it. It's hard to gauge because, like you said, he did start off pretty bad, but I don't know
I would put
if
him. I
he.
would put him tier six. That's where I'd go.
I know he's not going to play any this year, so like next year's list, if we are projecting, even still, it'd be kind of hard to put him high when we have another year of people like Cade, Brunson, Curry, those type of players that we've seen another year of instead of not playing the
Hey,
whole year.
next year Scoot Henderson's going to be in there. Just saying.
Could be.
All right, that's going to wrap it. We're going to wrap it right there.
Yeah, if we get any more before I get into the Jared McCain agenda.
Yeah, that's shooting guards. Shooting guards is next. You can say that for shooting guards. So we'll wrap it there.
Him and VJ. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll wrap it here for this episode. Like we said, shooting guards will come. Hopefully next week we'll get that out and continue with these positions. We always love doing this. Thank y'all for watching Point Guards. And yeah, if Jacob, you got anything to say before we close?
That's all I got.
All right. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all for shooting guards. Peace out.
Yep.